Hi, my name is Charlie, and I am behind It's Barbie Paris here on the internet. We make a lot of different content here on YouTube and other social media sites about things like disability, service dogs, living our life in Florida, things like that. The disabilities that I discuss in detail is I'm autistic and I have about medium support needs. I was diagnosed when I was 23 and I'm 30 now, and I have a lot of stories that I think make a lot more sense with diagnosis in mind and in retrospect. And so I thought I would start doing a series on my channel that's like a series of video logs like this, where I call it the late diagnosed autistic diaries, and we just talk about things that happened and like maybe ways that like could have gone better, or like things that like feel super blatantly autistic in retrospect, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go through a variety of stories. So I have a few points to make with today's story, and this is going to be about purses, which I just watched an entire movie on Mubi about. It was like 30 minutes and it was a short film, and it was through the eyes of a purse and as it like switched owners, and it was weirdly good, but that's not what this is about. This starts off as a rite of passage, but as I think about this longer, I begin to contemplate and think a lot more about people who are in families who are also autistic but undiagnosed and would never really know that any of the behavior is strange unless like you interacted outside of the family. And so that's why when like a lot of us like leave and like go to school or like do other things, like we might discover that we're very different than other people, and it wasn't weird to us because our family was also the same as we are. And again, so this starts with a rite of passage. We're going to be talking about a little TMI, but it's not, it's normal. I don't know. I'll be talking about periods. If that's something that bothers you, you can click off, I guess. It's a very minimal part of the conversation, but I thought I would put that warning here. But when I first got my period, my mom was very excited to induct me into like owning a purse, and I was like, whoa, like I'm pretty grown now, like you guys don't even know I have a purse. And my mom was like very serious about it. She's like, when you go to school, you never know when you're going, like, and like things that like I know better now, I just don't think like maybe they even knew any better, but they're like, you never know when your period could strike, so make sure that you're always carrying. And like, you know, now I kind of like have a calendar and I generally know, you know what I mean, I don't always have to be like just packing like pads everywhere I go, but I didn't know that at the time, and so that's what my mom told me to do, and so that's what I did because I was worried. And so she introduced me to a person. She's like, yeah, it's great, you can like carry a bunch of other stuff, and so like keep it in your backpack or like bring it around in class, and like when you have to go to the bathroom, like just take your purse. And that to me was like, yeah, that totally makes sense, but I've never seen anybody do that. And I like said that to my mom. I was like, aren't they gonna think it's weird when I'm like the only one with the purse? And she's like, they won't think it's weird. I look back on it on like an autistic light, I'm like, makes a lot more sense, even though at the time it was like a big deal to me. But yeah, a purse was a huge deal, and my grandparents made it out to be a huge deal. I remember when like my grandma was very sick, like one of the last things I remember she said to like us, like a general family, was like to like make sure like her purse is okay, or like watch her purse. Like when my nana was sick, same thing. It was like we're watching each other's purses, and it's like I don't know why that's a thing in our family, and I don't know if like other people do that, but like I like talked to my spouse about it, and he's like, I just assumed all of the other girls put it in their backpacks. And I'm like, well, they did. They did. But at the point I was like so hyped about my purse, like you could not have told me anything different. And so I want you to imagine like being like a middle schooler with like, I don't know, whatever was in style at the time. So it was probably, if I was to imagine my first one, it was probably like a boxy, almost like military style with like Velcro. I don't know, it was probably huge and baggy and boxy, and too big. It didn't need to be that big and not that cute, and probably look like something like my mom would have, which is fine. Like the style of somebody who's in middle school, but I didn't care. I thought it was super cool. I was like, I have a purse, and then my mom's like, you're gonna have a purse collection one day, I bet. You like purses. And I was like so excited about my purse. I was like, yes. And so when I had money, or when I was able to go buy things for myself, I would buy purses, and I started to develop like a little purse collection. And again, a lot of them were just like, I don't know, like boring purses. None of them have really, I don't have any of them today. But I went to the zoo with my parents, and as a kid, I now understand that I had what was a like big special interest in monkeys. And it was originally like a specific Jane Goodall thing. I got really into Jane Goodall, and then I got into gorillas, and then I got into like Coco the gorilla, and then it was all monkeys. And then I had I went and got a Build-A-Bear, and it had to be a monkey. I was so excited to go to the zoo because I was gonna be able to see monkeys. Like monkeys were my everything. I'd go to the library and I'm gonna get books on monkeys. And so my parents were like, you can pick a prize at the zoo, and I'm like, yes. So I like look around, and what do I see? Like the most fantastic display I've ever seen in my entire life. It's a display of purses shaped like animals, and I cannot find mine. Mine was an orangutan, or maybe it was a tamarind. It was an orange monkey. That's all I remember, and I've looked up every single code word. I've even figured out like the brand it was, and I'm displaying pictures of other versions right now, but I had like an orange monkey version. I believe it was an orangutan though, because it had like fuzz on its neck, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever. And like, it kind of translates to my style today. Like I kind of have like a weird eclectic style today. I too would carry a purse that was shaped different. I always look at like the Betsy Johnson purses, which if not the grown-up version of that, what is it? You know what I mean? But like I saw they had so many different monkeys. They had like zebras, but I had to get a monkey, and I thought the kids were gonna like eat it up, right? I thought it was the coolest thing ever because I was clouded by like my family and like the vibes, and then it was a monkey, and I was so excited. And honestly, I wasn't like the best judge of character of like what kids would think was cool at school, but I really genuinely thought that, like, mind you, I'm like in middle school, that this orangutan purse is going to be it. I brought it to school for maybe 2 to 3 days, where I was bullied off the hook for my orangutan purse. And I remember just like going home and sobbing and like putting it in my closet and being like, I'm never taking you out again. And like, I don't even remember them saying anything that was like super mean or anything. I remember one very specifically, like I think people would mostly just be like, why are you carrying that? Why is it a monkey? Well, that looks like that's for kids. Like it was mostly like things like that, but I don't know why this is the one I remember the most. I like got on the bus and I like had my monkey purse. I was like strutting on the bus, and a girl, I don't know, there was like not seats, so I was like, hey, can I sit with you? And she's like, sure. So I like sat with her because I was kind of by my friend, and like I was like started talking to my friend, and she's like,
hey, what are you trying to be? A prep?
and I don't know why that was like a big deal at the time, but it was. And mind you, we're like in like 5th grade, probably, like, I don't know. It's like, what are you trying to be, a prep? And it's just me with like my orangutan monkey purse, and then everybody laughed, and then like a whole group of people laughed, and I'm like trying to like figure out what that means. I'm like, is she saying like it's cool? Like, am I like popular with the preppy people? Or is she saying that it's silly? It's obviously she's saying it's silly, but like I was like trying to like justify it. And I think, and if you're like autistic, maybe you've also done this when like people are like making fun of maybe something you like, and you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of silly, isn't it? But you're like really inside like devastated. You're like, this purse was handpicked for me. Do you understand that? Like, this is a like, if I could design a purse, it would be this. And you want to disrespect me and the purse? And it was always just like and it was never anything big. Again, it was always just like, what are you, a prep? Why do you have that? Why is it a monkey? I'm gonna take away your stupid stuffed animal or stuff like that. I'm like, stop, it's my purse. It's my purse. And it probably had like a lip gloss, pads, maybe like my headphones in it. And I was like, my purse, it's so important. no, you can't touch it. But no, I retired it and pulled out another purse, and I felt so sad. But like now, the other day I left the house with a Care Bear shaped purse, and this purse honestly is like I'll put a picture here, is like a less awesome version of the purse I had before, because you can only fit basically like a lip gloss and maybe a wallet if you have like the thin wallet. But I've never brought my wallet in it, just like lip gloss, like I don't know, a couple things like this size, if you like catch my drift. And that's it. That's all that fits in it. So yeah, I don't know. I've never changed. It was them that were the problem, and they probably changed. Maybe, I don't know, they probably still wouldn't carry the orangutan purse or give it a chance. So I guess in that way we're all equally matched, because today, if I today was able to find the listing for the orangutan purse on eBay, I would buy it and I would wear it. And it would be the best thing ever. But I just remember being so devastated that people didn't get my orangutan purse, that was obviously, and I wanted to show everyone, have everyone understand it was because I knew a lot about and wanted to talk about monkeys all the time. And I thought that would make people understand that. But it didn't. And my mom was probably like one day, like, why don't you take that out anymore? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why. It's not big enough or something. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that like I really, really liked. And growing up was really confusing at that time, because I feel like it went from like we are all playing at like recess and we have like toys, and all of a sudden we're all supposed to like basically almost act like we're teenagers or growing up in middle school. And I had a really hard time personally transitioning. And I remember when I went shopping for like the school years and those, we went to Kmart, and this is again how old I am. They had like the original Bratz clothing for kids, and I had it, and it had like obviously Bratz motifs. And then it turned into like kids being like, my little sister has that. And I'm like, okay, great. How young is your little sister? They're 6 or something. Like, oh, um, okay. And then like they'd like laugh at me, like, I don't know, I'd always be like stuff like, I'd be like, well, how old is your sister? And it was always like so much younger. And like, I don't know, I feel like kids are like just kind of like messing with me, like, my little sister has that pencil case, my little sister has this. And I think it was just that I didn't understand, like, it took me a minute to adapt to the social normative of like what I was and was not allowed to have. But all at the same time, that was just kind of like a masking thing to us, like further associate myself with like the students and hopefully make friends. I don't think I had like a friend that was a girl until like maybe 3rd grade, because I struggled so much with like communication with the girlies. There was something, I had an easier time, and I don't know if like other autistic like AFAB people feel this way, but I felt like I got along with the boys better up until a certain point, and then it was like no more. Because it was like very simple with the boys. With the girls, they were very mean. Like I tried so hard to be friends with these girls, but we weren't like the same Girl Scout troop because we didn't live in the same neighborhood, and so like we would never be as good friends as like them and the other kids and things like that. And they'd bring like their American Girl dolls to school, like they were very like wealthy, and I was like not, and it was like very hard for me to like connect with them in any way that made sense. Like I didn't watch shows or do the things that they were doing, but what I did do is I did like watch cartoons and movies and things that the boys liked, like Pokemon or like Dragon Ball Z, or I don't know, anything, video games. We'd play like video games, and it was like simple. It's like, do you like Dragon Ball Z? Heck yes, I do. It's like, do you want to play Super Saiyans? Heck yes, I do. It was a lot less complicated than, oh, but you don't have an American Girl doll. Oh, I can bring my other doll. I'm sorry, they're like not invited to play because they're not an American Girl doll. And I'm like, rude. Heartbreaking. Anyway, I'm gonna go play Super Saiyans. So talk to you guys later. And that probably also made it harder to make friends, but yeah, I think I had a hard time anyway connecting with like being feminine or like having feminine friendships for a very, very long time. And I think a lot of it is an autistic thing, like a connection thing. I don't know, like even like the concept of gender to me was like something that was really hard to assimilate to and become feminine enough to have feminine friends. And so I think in a big way, I masked to be more feminine, to have more girlfriends. I really struggled unless it was something that was structured for me to make friends. And I was talking, this is again another riff where this is just me riffing, talking about my autistic experiences kind of in retrospect. And I remember like when I was younger and you'd go to like a class and you wouldn't know anybody, and it was like elementary school, and so like you're going to like one class with one teacher, and so you're gonna be with these kids all day. And I would panic like up until like the first week of school that I was going to have to make friends. Like, oh, but let's like, I was like, maybe one of my friends from last year is there, and they usually weren't. And I don't even know of like a kind way I can say this, but like I knew I needed to make friends to have an okay time, and I wanted friends so badly. And so like I don't know if it was like a pattern spotting thing, I would just like watch the kids, and there were certain kids that were like loud and things like that, and I was like, okay, I know I cannot approach that kid to be my friend. And I would kind of pick the other kids that were like quiet or maybe like were a little different, because it was just easier to like facilitate like communication. Like I don't think other people would have accepted me, but that's how I often made my friends, is I would kind of assess the classroom like the first couple of days of school and be like, that girl over there is very nice. I'm gonna be like, hey, do you want to play at recess with me? And that feels so mature, honestly. Like, could you imagine? I don't know if anyone like ever asked me something like that, but I probably formally went to her and was like, do you want to play at recess today? Just like a proposal. And I was like, yeah, sure. And it was usually like, oh yeah, please. And I don't know, I just was able to like fill out other people. And then like as I grew up, a lot of my friends I've realized are also neurodiverse. And a lot of these people that I was friends with, or that I was like selecting to be my friend or to be somebody I would spend time with, I was also selecting other neurodivergent traits that mirrored my own. So yeah, that's kind of the stories that I wanted to talk about. I have a lot of different stories I want to talk to you guys. Oh my gosh. I've talked on here a little bit about my time in the troubled teen industry, and I have so many things in that where I'm like, I don't know what is in my paperwork, because I've tried to get my paperwork because they do therapy and stuff with you, and I'm like, I know like certain things were talked about or discussed, but I don't really know what I was ever really like diagnosed with. I was like, did they flag anything? And as I'm calling, it's been, I don't know, 15 years, which is a while. All of them are like, yeah, those papers are gone. Yeah, I have no idea. So now that I have like some answers and I'm trying to like dig back through my past and things like that, it's a lot of dead ends. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk about some experiences growing up and kind of the lens of a late diagnosed autistic person looking at their childhood, kind of some silly things. Let me know if you guys can find the orangutan purse. I would be forever in your debt. You can send it to me on Instagram, and I'll buy it on eBay. If somebody can find a listing or has it, I'll buy it, because I feel like it needs to be in my purse collection. Yeah, I'm gonna strut with it. And imagine taking it to like Disney's Animal Kingdom. Stop. It's cute. It's cute. It's a cute idea. I don't care. But yeah, anyway, wrapping it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm a little behind this week because I broke my phone, so I had to transfer phones. And so I made other videos, but they are gone. So I'm making new videos for you guys, and new ideas and new things, because I don't want to refilm those. So maybe a blessing in disguise. I hope this was interesting for everybody watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.